Welcome to I Love Hockey, episode 5, and you've got Pretzel, and
the big dog.
we're lucky enough to have Dane Lett join us as well. Now, welcome, Dane.
Thanks, Pretzel. Thanks, Big Dog. Have me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. It's great to have a man that's just played his 100 caps for his country. So congratulations, mate. And
yeah, congrats.
This will probably be up there with the highlights, I suppose, of your career, getting to talk to Pretzel and me dragging and hanging on.
I think it might be my first podcast. So, yeah, it's up there, that's for sure.
Oh, that's good. Claim that one. Well, we sent through a couple of questions for you, so we'll get straight into those. When did you start playing hockey, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Wairarapa part of it, which is down to the bottom of the North Island. So I played mainly rugby when I was younger. So all through primary school and intermediate and most of college, rugby was kind of my sport. I didn't really play any hockey till I was about 13, maybe 12, which was like my last year before college. The reason why I got into it was I had a younger brother that played. So at like a certain level, hockey became a weeknight sport. So when you were younger, it was a Saturday morning sport. So it kind of clashed with rugby. So I never showed any interest or looked into it. But once you got to a certain level, I think it was intermediate, it got played on a Monday night. So one day my brother was playing. I just thought I'll give it a crack. So I went along to a club trial and basically said, if I'm in the top team that plays on a Monday night, I'm good to play. But if I'm in any other team, then I can't play. And it was only a small little club, so I think everyone made the top team, and just kind of went on from there.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's great, mate. So you said that's about 12 years old, was that right?
Yeah, it was just before college, so I think about 12, turning 13 was kind of my first year of playing actual hockey.
Nice.
Yeah. And how did you progress from there?
I pretty quickly I progressed to being able to make the representative sides locally, but as you know, Pretzel Wairarapa is a pretty small region, so like we're a little rural area. So again, not a significant achievement probably to make the representative sides. And if I was probably in a bigger city, it would have been a long time before I did, or I maybe just wouldn't have followed that path because I wasn't getting any traction. But in my first year playing, I started making representative sides and then moved into under 15s, under 18s. First year at college, I made the first 11 at Wairarapa College. We're a pretty good side, sort of played in the top division in Wellington. But I probably wasn't until March year at college I decided kind of hockey was the sport for me. I kept playing both the sports. So I was still pretty into my rugby and playing representative rugby up to under 16. And then, once I got sort of 17, I decided I'd have a crack at hockey and put away the rugby ball for a little while.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. So give us a bit more of a background for those that are listening in. You know, obviously a big Kiwi. I like to say the little sister of Australia, but we won't mention that because that's just me. That's me getting stuck in a pretzel most of the time. Gives obviously a bit more of a background. How old are you? What position you play? And your debut for New Zealand.
Yeah, so I'm 32 now. Played. I debuted for the Black Stars in 2014 against Japan down in Wellington, pretty close to home. But then I had a period out of the program, so I was sort of in and out. And then since 2017, I've kind of been permanently in, making every tour and playing all the games. So sort of had a little start and got a taste, and then didn't for a few years, and kind of got life sorted. Started working, had a child, settled down, got into the real world, and then came back into hockey. So I probably did a lot of the big life events before I started my real career in hockey, as opposed to after it, which maybe a different way of going about it than most do. But it's kind of worked well for me. And now I live in the Wairarapa. so back home, moved back there a couple of years ago. And I work in hockey. I work for Hockey New Zealand and Wellington Hockey. So yeah, kind of tied into it all and trying to have some fun.
Lovely. And how many caps have you played? And what position do you play? Or are you currently playing at the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm a defender. So I play, sort of moved around the back four a little bit. Started on the outside, but last few years been playing mainly central defender. And yeah, I got my 100th cap in our first game, and we've had 2 since. So my math is correct. I think 102. Yeah.
No, that's exciting, mate. So what's your favourite passing range from the back? Are we going to slap it overhead, push pass?
I'm a fan of a hard push pass. Yeah, I like a firm push pass over distances that most people would sweep. But probably aerial. Yeah, trying to use aerial range. Probably don't have the biggest aerial in international hockey, but trying to vary that up and play short, play long. It's probably my favourite.
No, that's great.
Who would you say has been your toughest opponent so far in your career?
Yeah, I'd have to admit it'd be Australia. I've played them far too many times, especially the last few years because we haven't really toured a lot. So most of international hockey has been Australia. Out of my 102 games, I've probably played them 25 times, I reckon. I've got 1 draw out of it. So yeah, I don't think I've got worse stats against any other country. They're pretty hard to play, and it's a game I love playing. It's always a real good contest, and it's going to be tough. But yeah, they're extremely difficult to beat.
What makes them so difficult?
They're just they're really ruthless. You can't slip up. If even when you think you're in the grind, as soon as you slip up or someone sleeps for half a second, they put a goal on you, and then they don't let up. They're not happy to win by a couple of goals. They want to put as many on you as possible. So I think just their mentality is they play hard and they want to dominate you for 60 minutes. So you've got to be on the whole time, which makes it tough.
Yeah, there's a few smirks coming there from the big dog.
No, just smiling, No, it's also always hard playing against New Zealand because play generally similar styles, both strong and take the game on. So, I think New Zealand play well, and I know previously, I always talk about your Tarrants and all these guys, slapping the ball, getting 100 touches, but I'd rather you have no touches and let the old Simon Child just give it to him, mate, and let him do it. No, keep it up there and keep it away as far as from your goal. That's always my plan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Best. I think you're probably one of the cleanest teams around the back. The way you shift the ball, just need more people to present, I reckon. But that's not my perspective. I mean, that's my perspective sharing, which I shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, I think we just shoot ourselves in the foot a little bit. So do some good stuff, and then it's always hard watching your goals against back, and it's very rare that we sort of take our hat off and go, that's just fantastic play, like they just outplayed us. Most of it's our errors or switching off and poor awareness or something that costs us. So it's always a harder pill to swallow as well.
Yeah, we do say when there's always if there's a goal against, it's generally 6. At least 6 things have gone wrong, and any one of those people along that line can sort of break that chain. But we also said numerous times in this podcast, Freds, the video never lies.
Doesn't lie. Never lies.
You can't hide on video.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to, but you just can't get away from
it.
Yeah.
I know being a defender from time to time, and you both have been there. And often people, when you talk to people about the sport, they think you're crazy. And sitting at the back facing some of these drag flicks. What's it like for you at the moment, trying to defend some of these? There's a fair few talented flickers here at the World Cup. And how do you train for it? And, you know, the fear side of it. Can you give people a bit of an insight to that?
Yeah, I'm a first runner, so I kind of thinking as if I get out there quick, it's only really going to hit me low. So yeah, the guys on the post and the second, third runners are a little bit more on the firing line. Like our job is to kind of get out there and wear it. But you're typically going to wear it pretty low. You know, the face is protected. Unless doing a crazy flick, I'm probably not going to get hit anywhere high. It's just going to hit you in the legs. But we do like a lot of training for it, a lot of softball work. Like you get those lights, kind of yellow soft balls. We'll do them just about every training. So it's almost just getting used to running at something when they want to put it through you. Because your natural tendency is to shy away from it. You know, if someone smacks something at you, you kind of your brain just says get out of the way of it. So, you know, get yourself to safety. So you almost got to like reprogram your brain to go, no, look at it and run at it, and face the ball. So the more we do it in training, the more habits you get around doing the right thing. And then the first thing, I've tried to like make it that I get quite excited. Like even though you kind of like you don't want. I'm quite excited about the opportunity to get a rundown because it's a pretty cool feeling. Like it's it's quite a cool feeling. Like if you're middle one, and everyone on your team is kind of like they know someone's got to do that pretty average job that some people don't want to do. So I mean you want to contribute to the team, and that's one way that you can contribute to the team. So I get quite excited about the opportunity of running down these people, and the bigger the flicker, the more excitement there is to get them as well. They flick it hard, but you get a few sore knocks, but it's pretty cool when you run one down as well. You do a job for your team.
Absolutely.
That takes the quote, taking one for the team to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's basically it, eh? Like, and the funny thing is, like, if you get hit above the knee, like you get hit in the thigh where you got no protection, that's the best outcome for your team because you get a free hit out. You know, if you get hit in the shin, it's just like another corner. So it's almost like if you literally wear one on the flesh, that's everyone's going, great job. So it's quite a weird situation.
It's still got to tickle and sting a bit, surely.
Oh, you certainly get like a lot of bruises.
There's nothing like dimples.
Like toes. Yeah, like the flesh ones, like you get pretty bad bruises to the thighs and stuff like that, which hurt, but they're not too bad. It's more like the toes. You get pinged on the toes, just start breaking little bones. It's not that fun, but that's all part of it. Someone's got to do it. So,
just on that, is there any other extra protection in your shoes, like apart from the other players, or is it?
We use like a little bit of it's like goalkeeper foam. So there's goalkeeper foam that we kind of lace through the top of our shoe.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of protects the top of your foot if you're getting hit, and sort of the top of your toes. So sort of the runners, we just like lace it through there. But I don't think there's actually anything on the market, like anyone sells anything for the niche first runners in international hockey. Most countries have kind of got some sort of a homemade job happening there and get a little bit of protection without kind of adding bulk to your shoes because you still got to run around as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we built our own as well. We used to use fiberglass covers and same thing, run through the top. You hit the top of the foot. Yeah, it's not fun. Even in around the toes, we used to actually. It was a mate of mine that used to make shoes. So from scratch, cut the leather, and a good old Italian fella. And the guys that run or goalkeepers would protect. But there was some, very industrial made equipment.
No, we're similar, mate. We're Kiwis, so you get out a bit of foam and a bit of tape and a pair of scissors, and away you go. Have a crack at it.
Yeah, that's it. A good coaching point for anyone else who's listening out there. That first running, how important it is. And I look at, I know I chose Amit a lot for India for that same reason. You're probably worth 2-3 goals as a good runner. making sure you get in that line and get hit. And as seen so far through the World Cup, average is still 1 from 10. So it's still not a lot of goals. And that's because, guys like yourself are brave, put your body on the line and commit to the team. How have you
I think
found?
it's become a massive part of the game now. The running's just improved significantly. Like for a few years, it was kind of like maybe Australia and New Zealand often had good runners because they're a bit crazier and willing to run the line than others. And then some of the European teams were sort of running pretty central and you could flick through them. But now everyone's got good runners. And the level of scouting is pretty high as well.
Yeah, definitely. How have you found working with Hayward, I was going to say.
With Leon?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's a real character, Leon. He's different from anyone else in our team, which we like. Everyone's got their point of difference. No, he brings a heap of energy. And he's like really open to, like, especially around PCD, he's really open to ideas and kind of doing what's best for the team. And no, he's good. He's pretty exceptional keeper on his day as well. So hoping to get a few of those performances out of him.
Yeah, definitely. No, I've known him for a long time. I'd say when he's a young fella. So it's quite interesting to see him when he made that call and shifted across. He was very close to playing for Australia in the number 3 sort of position and never really just got there, but I always thought he was good enough. And it was really good to see him, knocking Olympics away.
Yeah. No, he's been awesome for us, and he's kind of one of those guys. Like his first tour, immediately just immersed himself into the environment. And he's all in, So that's what you want. Kind of took the whole he's from Aussie thing off the table immediately. He was as much one of us after the first tour as anyone else. He's fully immersed. So no, he's a good dude, Leon.
That's great. So looking at the World Cup, how have you found it so far?
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, we've kind of been a bit up and down. We obviously knew we maybe had probably the softest pool in terms of rankings and perceived strength of nations. So obviously the plan was to try and maximise that, and we knew obviously Holland would be really tough, but the plan was certainly to try and take care of Chile and Malaysia. Did that with Chile, but then we slipped over in our last game against Malaysia. Dominated the match and all the stats, but not on the scoreboard. So it was a frustrating one, but I guess now we put ourselves in a position that we're actually pretty excited about. We've obviously got India in a crossover, which is a tough matchup. India are obviously a really strong team, and the last couple of years have kind of really pushed themselves into that sort of top tier of nations and fighting for medals. But I mean, playing India in India, it's 7:00 on Monday night. Like, it's probably no better occasion to knock them off. So now we got one game to try and decide our fate, I guess. So it's an all or nothing game. But as an event, it's been awesome. Royal Kala was amazing. The stadium there is something else. And there was like fantastic crowds every game. We sort of thought our first game against Chile, there'd be quite a few there because it was, early days of the tournament. But when we played Holland, it was massive crowd as well. So that's been really well supported. And there's a really good setup there and around. There's sort of like a semi-village where all the teams stay together, and it's right next to the turf, and kind of got everything you need. And now, our last game we played back here in Bhubaneswar. So it's been quite nice to have a bit of a change of scenery. These long trips can get a bit tedious if you're in the same place for too many weeks on end. So to pick up and shift somewhere else has been, I guess, quite stimulating. And now we've got an important game in a couple of days.
Can you give us a bit of an insight what the facilities are like at Raukala?
Yeah, so there's it's almost like a hostel type setup. So there's like a big dining hall which is shared. So you kind of teams will book in when they want their meals, and you'd come in, but there's probably another team in there at the same time, and it's just like buffet style. dining. The food's really good, and India can be a little bit hit or miss sometimes. Like you might get somewhere where it's quite limited in options and not much meat and stuff like that. But the food's really good. And every team's kind of got their own sort of wing. 2 to a room, single beds, pretty basic, but kind of all you need. Then there's big meeting rooms, and the turf is about a 400-meter walk away. There's a practice turf, and then there's obviously the main one with the big stadium. There's a couple of gyms set up, like fully kitted out gyms that teams are training in and doing all their work in. So it's kind of similar to like an Olympic Com Games set up where everything you need is there, and you're all in the same place, but it's just like obviously on a smaller scale. There's a handful of teams here at the same time. So yeah, it was and it's like hockey's so well supported in India. So you know, there's just a surplus of staff there to help you and wait on you and ask you what you need, and you know, you got so much security that want to take you to the ground that's only 400 meters away, and it's they put on a pretty good operation over here.
Cool.
Quite well professional.
You mentioned
it's a big deal. It's just quite cool. I mean, it's not the same in New Zealand. So it's quite refreshing.
You've got, like you mentioned, India in the crossover, and you had a big crowd against Holland. I'd imagine the next game is going to be a sellout. Chris would probably be able to give us an insight as to what the crowds might be like. What's the challenge? What's the biggest challenge in a game like that, timing and with that sort of atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, like, because we played here at the World Cup in 2018, and there's something about this stadium in Bhubaneswar, like it's probably the loudest that I've ever played in. A lot of the guys noted, like even the stadium at Royal, I think it probably had more people there because it's a bigger stadium, but it doesn't have the same like decibel to what's happening around you. Like we've all got quite vivid memories of playing a couple of games at the World Cup here in 2018, and just the noise was outrageous. You just couldn't hear anyone talk. Fireworks going off, it felt like that. It's like right in your ears. So I think that's going to be that plus GST versus an India in a crossover game. I guess from our perspective, like they're in the same position. They got the same atmosphere, and it's their home country. So we'll be the underdogs in every sense. I imagine not many people would give us a real chance of winning it. I'm sure India's got a fair bit of pressure on them from the nation. So I think that we think that works in our favour. We can turn up and just try and embrace all the atmosphere, and hopefully it puts a bit more pressure on them and they feel the heat of the game and the enormity of it rather than us.
Absolutely. Well, it was we watched your New Zealand game versus Malaysia yesterday. I was running an academy for about 100 kids. We had we've just brought in the under-21s national team for Malaysia, so they'll be training and they're playing a game tonight against the West Australian under-21s team. So the interesting thing is that the session was booked at 3 o'clock. They said no, we'll watch first quarter. 3:30, start at 3:45. 4 o'clock rolled around. No one's left the room. 4:30, no one's left the room. And then all of a sudden, all of my kids came in for pre-game World Cup analysis. So you got 100 people and all the Malaysian under-21s. And let's just say it was a great game, exciting, had everything all the way to the end.
But it ruined your training session.
Well, the problem was they came out. We were meant to have the turf. They'd actually missed their whole training session, and then had to accommodate for them. But I think everyone was a bit gobsmacked how exciting it was, and unlucky with I think there was a knock of a stick to Faisal and drag around the goalkeeper and under Leon. So, but you know, got it all. Goalkeeper's off, and how was it feeling? How's the energy?
Yeah, it was pretty hot out there. It seemed like maybe we were a little bit low on energy through the match. We kind of got reinvigorated when we pulled the keeper off. It's probably something that annoys the coaches, that it kind of takes like a dragging the keeper for everyone to kick into gear and go, oh, we've got to go here.
Yeah.
But like we kind of had a thing where, because the statistics of the game that we had 45 circle entries and they had 13. But we only got about 10 goal scoring opportunities and they had about the same. So what we were doing was we had a lot of ball and we are getting it where we wanted it, but just not making a lot of it. And then, the way we conceded was pretty disappointed as well. So that can be quite deflating to a team when you feel like you got a lot of possession, you're doing a lot of good stuff, but you're not kind of getting the outcomes you want.
Yeah.
And then at the other end, they sort of run away and it goes, oh, quick goal with maybe a bit of luck or stuff like that. It sort of can be a little bit deflating. So we kind of went up and down with that, I think. But I mean, we still were pretty confident once we pulled the keeper, we kind of had all the possession. And once we went to war, we thought we'd probably kick on and put another one at least on them. But yeah, well, it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
Good game to watch. It's kind of end to end, has a bit of everything. Sometimes not the most enjoyable to play in.
No, definitely. I love the games like that because you see who can play. You see who can step up, and that pressure just keeps building and mounting. And there's some people that will still take it on, and others will just sit around, like to pass laterally or wide. And then, and Malaysia are the same. They sort of played for broke, and then it was a bit tentative for those last couple of minutes. And a lot of great excitement, which I think will be similar to your game against India.
Yeah.
So, poor Hardik, spoke to him just recently, hurt his hamstring, so he's out. He was a big driving force through the midfield for India. So that's an interesting out. So I think one of the other boys who's very skillful will come in, and obviously still can play. But I think Hardik, it's similar, played about 120 odd games. Pretty quick and roll the ball quite well and good overhead. So I think that's going to be a big hole they're going to have to try to fill. And you're right about the crowd. Obviously, 2018, I was there coaching India. Crowd was intense. The media was even more intense. So I was also part of media manager when I was there for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So you can imagine there's 18, 20 journalists and video people trying to get interviews on the day of the game, and you got to try to schedule it into your eating and your sleeping and your resting and your meetings, and so that'll also all sort of sit in front of them, and then it'll be interesting to see how they come along with a focus, because the Raquel was good for them, but the next step is how you then close out the game. I don't know if you managed to see the game versus England, but I'm sure that you'll be watching the highlights. They were similar.
That was a good game.
So many circle entries, so many opportunities, but they managed to not score a goal somehow. So
we
about
were
frustrating.
keeping a tally on shots on target for that one, weren't we, Chris?
We were. I ran out of fingers and had to take my shoes off,
toes.
And was still disappointed. No, I worked quite closely with them and how they could score goals. And anyway, you don't make goals, you don't win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously hoping that they don't make that change in the next couple of days anyway. But yeah, I think you're right. Hardik is a massive loss to them. Like we know they'll have someone quality to bring in because India, they're a strong squad, but he's been quite special in the last year or two. He's certainly one of the real top tier midfielders in the world. So, sometimes you need little things to fall your way. Maybe that's one that'll add to us a little bit. Depends if we can maximise that or not. But we certainly weren't sad to hear that he's sitting out. Shame for him, but it is a good bonus for us as well.
Yeah. No, exactly. So all the people listening, who should they be looking out for New Zealand? Give us a rundown of who's going to play well against India, who we're focusing on, who's going to score the goals.
Who's going to score the goals? Our corner will fire.
Yeah.
Kane Russell, Sam
Yeah.
Lane. They'll put one or two past Tregish and Patek, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hayden Phillips was on fire against Malaysia. He was
Yeah.
really creative. Sean Finley, our other AM, he's really similar, really good on ball. So yeah, I expect those guys to match up well with the Indian midfield and have a crack at them. Yeah, and then hopefully we can press with some real intent, and Sam Lanes and the guys up front will get some steals. But yeah, we're hoping everyone will be a little bit better than what we were against Malaysia.
Yeah.
Now it just shows that everyone talks about the game getting shorter and 60 minutes, 15-minute quarters. As you keep looking up at that scoreboard, you keep seeing 3, 2, 1. The pressure's different throughout the games than what the old 35 minutes were. That you could sit around a bit more. So I think it's going to be end to end. I hope your hamstrings are nice and stretched. I'd say.
Yeah. We're sort of you go to India or play in India. It's always you know what you got to be prepared for. It's just whether you can deal with it or not. So you always got to bring your tackling stick and your running shoes. Is pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like to go end to end. Harmanpreet can sling a ball or flick a ball from anywhere.
Yeah.
And they got fast hands all over the pitch.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they're playing, they got fast hands and crazy V drags that most people can't do. So yeah, you always pack your tackling stick and your running shoes against India.
Yeah.
Just a quick one for some of the younger listeners or new people to the game. When you guys talk about fast hands, what do you mean?
Oh, it's their ability to have the ball in one position and then manipulate it into another. It's changed from kind of the old school, what we call Indian dribbling, where it's like tick, tack, tick, tack. It's more, they're moving at a high speed in one direction and then they'll just cut, and it's their footwork and it's their hand speed to just turn the ball and then they go in a different direction. And if you run at the same speed or overcome it, they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the Asian teams, their ability to like stop on a dime and move the ball into a different direction. So it's like a lot of especially the left to right, the left to right cut or left to right like V drag it's hard to read, and so you don't know where they're going to do it, and they do it fast. By the time you turn around, if your footwork isn't good, they're gone. So yeah, that's kind of their hand speed, but also in the tackle, like their hands. I don't know if it's some of the surfaces they play on when they're coming up, but their ability to pick a ball. Guys like Mandeep in the circle, a ball gets fired in, you can barely see, and his ability to see where it is and then get a stick to it towards goal is quite exceptional. So yeah, I don't know why it is, but their hand-eye with a stick is pretty impressive sometimes.
Yeah, they do start from a young age. I remember when I played Hockey India League there in about 20, or would have been 2013, 14, whatever it was, the first year. I went up to do some media stuff similar to this, and then we're at an academy, which is where Manpreet, Mandeep, and all these guys came from, and ran a session. The coach said, "Oh, can you come do something?" I said, "Oh, listen, I don't have time," and he was pretty excited. The boys were excited, so he got out there and he rolled about 100 balls out. Everyone got a ball and started dribbling, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. This is not the way I train. But watching them go, and the same thing, some of the guys, the skills they've got, and then trying to understand, get in a good position to be able to carry with your eyes up, and they're left to right in their V drags, and dragging on 45s and doubles with lifts. There's some pretty special things. The next step, which I tried to explain to the coach, was now you need to teach them after they beat one guy how to pass. So that does not necessarily ever come to it, but it's a different skill, different way of growing up.
Yeah, certainly. But it's I mean, they're one of my favorite teams to watch. But sometimes you're just hoping they're not on their day when you play them.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Now I got a question for you, Dane. You mentioned your work in hockey as well. Can you quickly touch on what your role is and And how long you been doing it?
Yeah, so my roles kind of evolved a bit. I started originally at Capital Hockey. So when Hockey in New Zealand was regionally based, I started as a performance manager at Capital Hockey. So that was in 2015.
Yeah, we used to
So I did
share that sort of same office space and walk past each other
yeah,
at
yeah.
Wellington
So that was
Hockey.
where I first met you. So I basically looked after the performance program for the region. So any of the representative teams that would go to national tournaments, under 18s, under 21s, and National League, and then any of the kind of nationally identified players. So running the program for them and just being kind of the link between them and the national pathway. And then since then, my kind of roles merged into a few different things, but currently I have a shared role between Hockey New Zealand, where I look after the players in the Lower North Island, the pre-performance players. So anyone that's nationally ID'd, so like New Zealand under 21, under 18 players, or anyone close to the Black Sticks. So coaching them and overseeing their individual development. And then my other part is working with Wellington Hockey. So I've got a head of hockey role there where I kind of look after a couple of staff and sort of the pathway from bottom to top. So not just performance stuff, but also looking into the community and competitions and everything else that goes into hockey. So there's kind of a few different things that I do, which I quite enjoy. It's a bit of variety, and I'm not a sort of person who wants to be on the pitch all the time, but I like some of it in my week, and then I don't want to be in the office all the time either. So it kind of gives me a good balance of doing different things and working across different parts of the hockey environment as well.
Yeah. And how do you balance that with family life?
Try as best I can. No, I try to be pretty purposeful with how I plan stuff, but also being really clear on what, am I working or am I training or am I at home and being a partner and a parent? So I try to distinguish the three and be really clear on at any hour of the day which one I'm in and try not to merge them. So, if I try and set out my working hours, but then, once I'm home and I've picked up my son from school and I'm supposed to be spending time with him, I'm not, not checking emails and doing stuff like that. So, I just try to be quite purposeful with what hat I've got on and be good at taking them on and off throughout the week.
I think you better give her a shout out, mate, and the young fella. Just because otherwise, if she hears it, you're in India holidaying while she's looking after.
Yes, no.
It never changes, mate. Trust me.
Kelsey.
Just from experience. Sorry, I talked over.
No, you're right, mate. Yeah, I've got my partner Kelsey. She's pretty amazing. Lets me do all the things that I want to do and supports my boy. We've got a 6.5-year-old Rio. So yeah, those two are at home and missing them, and they'll be missing me. But looking forward to getting home soon and spend as much time as I can with them.
I'm sure we'll be gearing up to watch you live on the upcoming match as well.
Yeah. I think this one's might be a middle of the night for them. The other ones have been quite good times with the time difference, so they might catch a replay, I think.
Yeah. Well, good luck, mate. We wish you all the best. I say play well,
thanks,
but
guys.
hopefully, not too well. And I'd almost like to see it go to shootouts just to keep it exciting. But no, we wish you all the best, mate. Play well, save some.
Upcoming game against India.
Yeah, thanks, guys. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I think we might have to get you back. We're talking about all the development work that you're doing in and around young athletes, and we want to hear a bit more about that and maybe get you sharing some insights from your career and what some of the younger players out there listening in might can focus on to, be able to enjoy the game. But, for those that want to step up and be on the stage that you're on right now, I'm sure you've got a bit of wisdom you can bring to light and we can share.
No worries at all. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Cool.
Thanks for your time and all the best.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Good luck.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.
Hey, Big Dog, who are you picking? What's the score?
Oh, 4-2.
India,
Mm.
halftime.
I'm going to say 1-0.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
been pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting because they've got to
One
replace
two,
Hardik.
1-0 2.
It'll be 1-0 to India.
Right.
Yeah. Give the ball to Sai. Let's see what he can do.
I reckon he's going to snag one.
Yeah. What do you reckon the score is going to be, Frets?
I reckon it might be 3-2. I think it'll be a little
3-2?
bit closer.
India or New Zealand?
I'd like to. I'm going to go with New Zealand. I'm going to say a bit of an upset,
Of course you will.
just to balance it out.
And that was episode 5 with Dane. What a fantastic guy. Wish him all the best for the game against India. I'm the big dog.
I'm Pretzel. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to our channel.
See you later, guys, and follow us on all the different platforms of I Love Hockey.